The Vision's brutal warning. Rollins ambushed in chaos. Street Profits get crushed. Bron Breakker's ruthless attack. WWE sends a dark message. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. What if the most dangerous thing in WWE right now isn't just the attack itself, but the fact that nobody saw it coming until it was already too late? And what happens when a group like the Vision doesn't just win fights, but starts sending messages that feel like warnings for everyone else on the roster? It didn't feel like a normal night the moment things started unfolding. You could sense it in the air before anything even happened. That weird calm that usually shows up right before chaos, like the arena itself knows something ugly is about to go down but refuses to say it out loud. Seth Rollins walked in with that usual confidence, the kind that says he's seen everything already. The Street Profits were right there too, hyped up as always, trying to keep the energy light. You could almost mistake it for a normal night if you ignored the fact that the Vision has been circling like something hungry, just waiting for the right second to strike. And that's the thing people keep underestimating. The Vision doesn't rush. They don't panic. They don't waste motion. They wait. Like predators. And when they finally move, it doesn't feel like a match starting, it feels like a switch being flipped. It started small. Too small, honestly. One of those moments where fans in the arena are still cheering, still thinking they're in control of the mood. A stare from across the ring. A slow walk. A pause that lasts just a second too long. You know that feeling when you're watching something and your brain goes, yeah, something's off here, but you ignore it because you don't want to be that paranoid fan? Yeah. That moment. Then Bron Breakker stepped forward. No sprint. No shouting. Just that steady, almost cold walk like he already knew exactly how it would end. And that's when the energy shifted. Not gradually either. It snapped. Like a cable breaking under too much tension. Seth didn't back up immediately, which honestly says a lot about him. Some people freeze, some people react, and Rollins, he just stands there like he's trying to read the situation before it becomes a problem. But this wasn't a situation you could read. This was a situation designed to erase hesitation. The first impact wasn't even the biggest part. It was the speed of it. 1 second there's tension, the next second there's chaos spilling everywhere. The Street Profits tried to jump in, because of course they did. That's who they are. You don't just stand there while your guy gets surrounded. But the Vision clearly accounted for that too. That's what makes it worse. It wasn't just an attack. It was control. Like they had already mapped out who would move where, who would try to intervene, and how to shut it down before it even mattered. You ever watch a fight where one side just feels ahead? Not stronger necessarily. Just prepared. That's what this was. And somewhere in the middle of it, you could see Seth Rollins trying to turn it into something he could survive. He's done that before. Turn chaos into opportunity. Turn pain into momentum. But this time it wasn't bending in his direction. It was stacking against him. Every time he tried to get space, it got closed. Every time the Street Profits tried to create separation, the Vision cut it off like they were reading their thoughts instead of their movements. And I know that sounds dramatic, but watch it back and tell me it doesn't feel like that. At one point, you could almost hear the crowd shift from excitement to concern. That slow realization that this wasn't just a brawl breaking out. This was something getting out of hand fast. And let's talk about Bron Breakker for a second, because you can't really ignore him here. There's a difference between being aggressive and being precise while being aggressive. Bron doesn't look like he's trying to win a fight. He looks like he's trying to end the entire argument. No wasted motion. No hesitation. Just impact after impact like punctuation marks on a sentence nobody wanted to hear. Meanwhile, Seth is still trying to fight back in that Rollins way. The stubborn resilience. The refusal to just lie down and accept it. You could see him firing back, trying to shift momentum even for a second. And for a brief moment, it almost looked like he might. That's the cruel part. The hope. The little flicker that makes you think, okay, maybe he's got this. And then the vision shuts it down again. Clean. Immediate. No celebration. No emotion. Just continuation. The Street Profits weren't backing down either, to be fair. They were throwing themselves into the chaos like they always do. That's what makes them dangerous in a different way. They don't think about survival first, they think about response. But when you're dealing with a group that already anticipated your response, it becomes a trap. And that's exactly what this felt like. A trap that already snapped shut before anyone realized they were inside it. At some point, you stop asking who's winning and start asking how much worse is this going to get? That's usually not a good sign in wrestling. That's the point where things stop being competitive and start being symbolic. Because this wasn't just about Seth Rollins and the Street Profits anymore. This felt like a statement to everyone watching. Like the vision was saying, without actually saying it, that the landscape is shifting. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to get caught in it next. And I know fans love to throw around phrases like sending a message, but this time it actually fits. Because after a while, it wasn't just an attack anymore. It was a demonstration. A reminder. A warning wrapped in violence. There was a moment, very quick, almost easy to miss, where Seth Rollins tried to pull himself back into position, trying to regroup with the Profits. And you could see the calculation in his face. That internal math he does when he's trying to turn disaster into direction. But the vision didn't let the math finish. They interrupted the equation. And honestly, that's the most dangerous thing about them right now. Not just that they're strong. Not just that they're aggressive. But that they don't let you think. And if you've watched Seth Rollins long enough, you know thinking is half his weapon. Take that away, and suddenly even he becomes human in a way fans aren't used to seeing. There's also something uncomfortable about how calm the vision stayed through it all. No over-celebration. No emotional spikes. Just this almost eerie consistency. Like they weren't reacting to the chaos, they were conducting it. And that's the part that sticks with you after the segment ends. Not just the impact, not just the destruction, but the feeling that this wasn't random at all. It was structured. So now the question becomes obvious, even if nobody's saying it out loud yet. What exactly is the vision building toward? Because groups don't just attack top names like Seth Rollins and the Street Profits without intent. That's not random targeting. That's positioning. That's hierarchy talk. That's someone trying to redraw the lines of power in WWE. And the scariest part? It might already be working. You could hear it in the crowd reaction too. That mix of shock and uncertainty. Not the usual holy crap that was awesome energy, but more like wait, are they actually unstoppable right now? And that shift in tone matters more than people think. Because once a group stops being seen as beatable, everything changes. Match psychology changes. Rivalries change. Even the way people walk to the ring starts to change. And Seth Rollins, well, he's not the kind of guy who just accepts a new order being written over him. That's the part that makes this interesting going forward. Because this isn't just about damage done tonight. It's about